Yeah, I agree with that. The more technical the movements, the less emotion usually helps to do the movement. Because if you just need force, yeah, you do need to get emotional to a certain degree because the emotions are going to help you. The anger is going to help you create more force. But when it's technical and the force needs to be applied in a very, very technical way through a bat or some sort of motion with your hands, like, I mean, that's dexterity, and you've got to have very, very fine-tuned dexterity to be able to make slight adjustments like that. Emotions don't usually help. So it really, talking about emotions from a coach's standpoint, from a caretaker standpoint, or from a competitor standpoint. Okay, let's talk about those three because those are the three that Champion Forward works with. Like the competitors, especially if they're youth competitors, there's some keys and tips we can give them to start building the mental skills to be a great performer. But like what we're focused on is how do we help you thrive in the midst of all the performance pressure? Because sports naturally are putting you on a stage, whether there's just your parents watching or whether it's a stadium of 50,000 people or millions of people watching the World Series, there's a level of performance pressure. When you step to the plate and that you're up against that guy, if you strike out, you feel a level of embarrassment because you were in front of everybody and you just struck out. That guy got the best of you in that moment, right? And you have to learn as an athlete, especially a baseball player in that sport, to be able to take, you got knocked down, but you're going to get back up and take the same level of confidence the next time as you had the first time, even though like going into that final at bat with the Cubs, does anybody know what I did before that? You guys have any idea what my stats were?
No.
I was 0 for 4.
Oh, see,
I was 0 for 4
Yeah.
in the game going into that at bat. That probably helped me not try to be the hero. Sometimes when you stink in the game, it helps you have a healthy level of like what your limits are and say, hey, just stay within yourself and do what you're capable of doing. Right. So, but emotionally as a young athlete, it's hard for them to make sense of all that. They're feeling things. They're trying to perform. When they strike out, they feel terrible, especially if they strike at the end of the game. They're like, I blew it for my team. There's a lot there. We can help some of those athletes, but if the parents and the coaches that they're around don't do their own work as adults, they can make the situation worse for the young athlete. So our organization really focuses on a lot of the caretakers. Like, are you emotionally intelligent and are you skilled around what you're feeling and what you're going to say in the car ride home? Because they're going to need something when things don't go well from you. And one of the things they don't need is more criticism, because if they're really highly sensitive to failing already because they know what they did wrong, then they're just going to hear criticism and beat themselves up more. Whereas, they might need something different. Every kid is different in what they need, but the parents and the coaches have got to be emotionally intelligent in order to, like you said, Tony, bridge that gap of where they're at right now and where they want to be. So it's a teaching moment. It's like, okay, how did it go? What did you feel about that? Yep, you're not happy about that. Okay, great. What do you want to do about it? What do you think you need to do about it? A lot of it is more entering into the situation with curiosity instead of criticism. If we as parents and coaches and adults that should be more emotionally intelligent and more developed mentally skilled, we should be the ones asking the curious questions that help them develop and bridge the gap from where they are to where they want to be. That's kind of our mission as an organization is how do we help you thrive in the midst of performance pressure? Not just if you're 12 or 13 to 18-year-old kid. How about the parents? You're feeling pressure for your kid and you want him to get that scholarship and you don't want him to feel terrible for blowing the game. But how are you handling that moment? Are you thriving in the midst of your own kids' performance pressure? Or are you making it harder for them to develop because you're just feeling the same things and you're not emotionally developed enough to deal with that? So that's some of the stuff that we're working with, competitors and caretakers and coaches on.